everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 7 of Reputation Rebuild at Auxerre with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we've had a January transfer window and a few games in that as well, so I'll tell you about both of those things in an update at the start of the video. And we've got a game against Nancy in the Ligue to play as well today, so it's going to be a bit of a busy episode. Form has been okay. We sit currently in 6th. Got to find a way to push into those playoff places. Can we get the 3 points today and start to do that? Let's find out. So welcome back. We are in the very, very early stages of February of 2020, so still first season at Auxerre, but we have been through the January transfer window. We've done a little bit. We've got some deadwood out and we've got a couple of players in, primarily defensively this time round, to secure the back for us and give us a sounder platform to build our team from. So we've been doing that. I'll show you that in a second. Fixture-wise, through January, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, but not too bad. We went through a couple of rounds of the Cup, the Coupe de France. You can see that we played 9, 10 and 11 round of the Coupe de France and eventually came up against Amiens and they beat us in the 11th round of the Coupe de France. So we're now out of that competition, which, to be honest, having had a decent run, it's been good, but I'm kind of happy that we're out so we can now focus on this league schedule moving forward. In terms of league performances, we lost against Caen and we beat Le Havre. So it was a reasonable January, but there was a couple of losses in there that just dampened that slightly. As I said in the intro to the video, that leaves us in 6th place currently. We've played 20 games. A lot around us have played 21. If we can get the 3 points today, it closes up the gap into the playoffs. We've just dropped off the playoffs a little bit, which is a bit disappointing. That run of form that we have sort of from December through January had a few too many league defeats in it. 1, 2, 3 league defeats in there, and it's just dropped us slightly off the pace at the top of the division. But I'm hopeful that now that we've got a settled squad for the remainder of the season, we're not in a cup distraction anymore. We can focus purely on the league. I hope that we can build a bit of momentum and move this club forward into the playoffs for this season and just see whether there's a very, very slim chance that we can get promoted through that. It might be a season too early, but we're going to give it a good go. That's the intention for the second half of the season. So, in terms of transfer business that we've done, we have done a bit. You can see that we're losing 2 players in the summer. Toure and Yatara are both out of the club in the summer on free transfers. So there's going to be a whole continual rebuild of this squad as we move through the next few transfer windows, I would suggest, because it's nowhere near good enough at the moment. We're just incrementally, bit by bit, trying to improve it. And on this transfer window, it was all about the defence. So there looks like there's been a lot of stuff going on, and there kind of has. I mean, all the way from here downwards, we've been doing business in the January transfer window, but most of those are just youngsters coming into our under-19 squads, etc. There's only 3 players in this group here that have gone into the first team. Similarly, over this side, there's a few that went out the club, the bottom 3. 2 of those came out of our first team squad. Coef and Arcus have both gone for a decent fee. Although we've made a bit of money this time around, financially we're in a little bit of trouble, only because the wage budget isn't quite working for us. And we've had to go a bit above and beyond that to improve the squad. So it's a bit of a calculated risk for half a season to see if we can get through to the playoffs, get a bit of money through that kind of process, and then reset the club again and go again and try and bring that wage budget down as much as we can over the next couple of transfer windows to, but still improve the squad. It's a bit of a kind of a tricky balance to get. But just at the moment, we're not doing fantastically well in that department. But I felt it necessary just to improve the quality of options in our defensive area. So we've bought a right back and 2 central defenders, and it was the central defenders area that was the biggest issue for us, I found. We've got 2 good ones. Brigery and Suprayan have been playing well. They keep their position just for now, but they're now under pressure. And what we've got is we've got a very good youngster in Hugo Morales, came into the club at 18 years old, and has got a lot of gaps. Absolutely, of course he has. But at 18, great determination, great natural finishing, decent enough central defensive kind of technical attributes, and room for improvement. And hopefully we'll be able to do that, and potentially, if nothing else, sell him on for a profit at some point in the future. Maybe that's, one of those things you have to look at. So that's the first one that's come into the club. The second central defensive player that we bought in is this guy, Danny Wilson. Came through the ranks at Rangers, and then went into Liverpool for a while, and has come back into Scotland through America, and now we've got him at Auxerre. And this is a decent ball-playing central defender, which I think is a pretty good thing to have. 15 passing. His attributes for the central defensive role are decent enough. A little bit better on positioning would be great. A little bit more pace would be great. But what he does is he adds competition for places for Cyprien and for Bregury, who so far have basically had to play because there wasn't anything decent beneath them. We've still got Barr in the club. We've got rid of a couple of players in this sort of periphery, fringe player type of area. We released a couple on free transfers just to get them off the wage bill. It's been quite a bit of a restructure, really. The squad has shrunk down in size just a small amount, which makes it more manageable moving forward. There's still players in here that I'd like to get rid of course there is. And there's some unhappy players, etc., because they're not getting the game time they want. We've got a couple that are moving out in the summer, as we've already seen. So there's still lots of stuff to do with this particular squad. But so far, I think we're doing okay, little by little. I wanted to improve the striking position, but I couldn't find anybody that was good enough to do it. But what I have found is that now is the time, halfway through the first season, to start bringing through one of our youngsters. Begrew, yeah. Him, I think we're going to have to change his name. Begrowie. Anyway, Yanis, he's 18 now. He was 17 when we started, 18. And you can just see that he's beginning to increase some of his attributes. Now, his finishing is not great. His composure is not great. But that's okay, because what we're going to be using him for is a bit of a kind of a target heading kind of target man, sort of. He's not playing the target man role, but hopefully he'll still be able to use his physicality to impact this kind of area and bring the attacking midfielders in, etc. So we're playing him a little bit at the moment. You can see that he's got a very good average rating compared to most. He's come in the last 5 games and scored 3 goals and got 1 assist. So it's not too bad. We're not playing him every game. We're just trying to bed him in a little bit, drop him for a couple of games, give the others guys a chance. The one that's really missing out at the moment is Sorgic, who's just not playing particularly well. No goals, no assists in the last 5 games. Just isn't quite there at the moment. Can come back in again, absolutely, of course he can. But he's got to play better to do it. We've got one injury issue today, and that is Bernard is injured a little bit, so he's going to be out for a little while, but Botto is perfectly good in that left-back position anyway. We've kind of transitioned into the pre-game tactical page anyway, so we're just going to stay here for now and not bother going through the sort of change of chapter page and all that kind of stuff on this occasion. But this is what we've been left with for the second half of the season. It's a better squad, I think, than we started with, specifically defensively. And that's one of the things that we need to start making sure that we do. If we come out and just have a look at our team stats here, you can see that the goals conceded is 20. It's 6th best in the league, which is where we are. We could do with scoring a few more goals, but my thought is I couldn't find the quality. I could in the defensive area, so we've decided to sort that out first and become very, very hard to beat, I hope, and then see whether we can move on from there. You can see it didn't quite work out in January, still a couple of losses in there, but I think now is the time to go on a bit of a run. So today we are up against Nancy in the Ligue 2, and they sit in 12th. So again, it's a decent enough side for us to be playing. There are a few places below us, few points below us. Good chance for us to get a good home performance in and get some momentum moving into February, and then we'll just have to see how it goes, really. But if we go back into the tactics and figure out exactly what's going on for today, the team shape, the formation, the structure hasn't changed. The personnel that have been brought into the club, we're bringing them in slowly. They've all had a small amount of game time already, but Morales is out the squad, and we've got Wilson and Gaspar. Gaspar is the other one I didn't show you. Gaspar is our right fullback option. We didn't have a good one. We have a reasonable first choice in Setu, but no options. And this guy, 22 years old, he's been around a little bit. Gaspar, he's been at Lyon and Monaco and Club Bruges. But what I would say about him is that he's got some gaps, especially in his mentals, but he is an upgrade on what we had, because what we had was really poor. He's come in, played one substitute appearance so far and done okay in that. Bit by bit, we'll introduce him to the squad. Setu, who is still a slightly better option for us, especially in those mentals, is going to keep his first team place. But at least we've got somebody that offers us something down that right-hand side, if need be now, because we really genuinely didn't have it before. And we've released a couple of guys that were in and around the squad, like Arcus, and there was another one in there. I can't even remember who it was now, but they just were really, really not very good. So that's what's happened in the transfer window. That's the tactical setup that we're sticking with for the second half of the season. You can see that the new players are in and around the squad, but not in the first team 11 just at the moment. So for today's game against Nancy in Ligue 2, we've got Michel in goal, Bregury and Suprayan in central defence, Setu at right back, Botto at left back, Adiotti and Belogu in central defensive midfield. In the attacking midfield, we've got Ngando and Saki, and up top we've got Dujimon and Begrao, who we're going to call Yanis, because I can't be going through that every time we play him. Anyway, that's the starting 11. We've got a bench of Wilson, Gaspar, Toure and Dom, Sylvestre, Yatara and Lebihan. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So after the loss in the previous game, I've gone with a team talk of I'm expecting to see a much better performance from you. We're at home. It was quite calmly delivered, but still nonetheless, I do expect them to play better and control the game better than we did in the last match, which was a little bit disappointing. Although it was the end of the cup run, which I'm not too disappointed at, it was still a little bit of a disappointing performance. So let's hope that we can actually go in and find a way to break their lines a little bit today against Nancy and try and get into that penalty box, use the power that we've got up top in the striking position to bring the attacking players in and then potentially get some shots at goal maybe. But here's a corner kick. And the first opportunity for Yanis on the near post as we look at it, and the header was just over the top. And that's where we use him a lot. He's got a 15 heading, which is decent for a young talent like that. So we're going to be using that as crossing him in for headers, etc. A good save, double save by Michel at the back. A little bit disappointing that second shot was able to be taken though. We should have had defenders around them to stop that. And that leads us through to half time. It was not a high octane first half at all. You can see that we've had a fairly even game. We were on 40% possession with 6 shots at goal, 3 on target. So it's not been lit up by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of the style of play that we have really, and what I kind of expect. Although I do expect us to convert some stuff when we make the chances. And so far we haven't quite done that. So we can now put a bit of a rocket up them. Assertively, I'm not happy with the performance. Who's upset by that? And it's Yanis as a youngster that's upset by that. Okay, well, he's going to have to toughen up a little bit, isn't he? So we'll end the team talk there and chuck him back out again. No need to change anything just at the moment, although we will go in with a shout and demand more from them just to see if we can get some momentum in this second half. And get a few attempts at goal. We have got a few. 7 shots at goal isn't too bad, but no quality for a highlight at least. Shows that we're kind of wasting them, which is disappointing. 72 minutes in, and we've got to do something about it now. We're at home. We've got to find a way to break through. We've got some low conditioning that we've got to figure out a little bit. We've got some nerves around the side as well. So what can we do about it? Ngando, in one of our attacking midfield roles, he's got a slightly low condition and the yellow card, so Sylvestre can come in for him. We need to probably take one of these central defensive midfielders out as well. And we're going to take Belogu out and we'll put in Toure. and he can play that last few minutes. Now, we could potentially take Boto out, but we haven't got a particularly good left-sided player. Both Setu and Gaspar, can probably play that role reasonably well, but not brilliantly. Don't really want to do it though, so I'm going to take a chance and leave Boto in there to complete the game, and we're going to make a slightly more attacking change up top, and it's going to be Dujimon coming out and Le Bihan going in, and we'll go in for that. And again, we'll go into the shouts and we'll say get creative for the last few minutes, and it's not us that have done it in the slightest. Nancy had a free kick on the far side of the pitch, and it was drifted across, fairly harmless ball really. It was a corner kick, not a free kick, sorry. It was kind of a drifted one over to this far side. And Dembele gets a head on it and puts it past the goalkeeper. We're going to have to do something about it. We're going to have to go into a more attacking approach for the last few minutes of the game, and see whether that can do anything. I don't really want to change the formation particularly. We've already kind of got 4 guys up front. I don't know what else we could do. That's disappointing. It's not a good start for coming back into sort of the second half of the season. We potentially have got some issues with some low conditioning at the moment, because these players have had to play so much because they haven't had the rotation opportunity, because we haven't had the quality. So maybe we're going to have to do that in February a little bit, and we're going to take the likes of Setu out and Boto out and just give them a chance to rest a little bit here and there so they can come back later in the second half of the season. And again, we've demonstrated that we're a little bit toothless up top. I did really try and figure out how to change that in the January transfer window, but the quality just wasn't anywhere to be found. It was kind of a really hard position to figure out, that striking role. And so we're just going to have to go with what we've got. But it is certainly a weak area that in the summer I'm going to have to do something about, because whichever combination I'm putting up top just at the moment, they do score some goals here and there. It's not that they don't, but it's not consistent in any way. So we're going to have to figure that out. Anyway, disappointing loss at home, just as we need to be getting into those playoff places. We're going to have to regather ourselves again and go again in the coming days, in the next few games, just to see if we can break the rot a little bit. But for now, let's get into the analysis page and just figure out what happened today that didn't quite work out for us. So obviously they're going to have more possession in that sense. We play a slightly more direct style of game really. So we're never going to out-possession opponents too much. But other than that, it was fairly even. The average ratings were pretty much the same. We had a few less shots on target than they did, but relatively even on actual shots at goal. So we can't complain that we didn't create chances. We just didn't take them today, which was a problem. In the main analysis page, you can see that they, again, were attacking us down the wide areas. Why wouldn't they? That's where we're slightly weaker, because we're playing a narrow formation. And our heat map suggests that we are getting it up to this top group of players in the heat map here, but we're just not making it stick and holding on to the ball and getting people involved and bringing it up collectively at that point. There's a bit of a disconnect there. I'm going to have to probably watch a couple more 90-minute games myself in between the 2 episodes just to see where the disconnect is and how we can improve that. But I'll do that off camera and figure out what we can do about that. In terms of our shots at goal today, we always go and have a look at the ones that didn't quite work for us. So we're just going to have a look at our own ones. So let's go and look at the off-target ones to start with. 1 from just on the edge of the box, 3 from inside the penalty box, and 2 very close to the 6 yards. And we're putting them over the bar, which is not good enough. That's where we're losing out. Today it was Yanis that was doing it. He had 3 of our 4 shots in the penalty box that were off target. And that's the problem with him. Unless you're putting it on his head, he's not quite as good with his feet. But yeah, we've got to find a way to get the best combination of strikers there. In terms of the shots that were saved, you can see that we had a few there as well. So the goalkeeper obviously did a decent job. And then we had 1 that was blocked as well. Probably, I would imagine, from Adiotti. It might have been from a corner kick or something, maybe. But that's where we've lost the game. We had chances and we just weren't able to find a way to take them. Passing-wise, Intercepted passes, as I always say, don't care about these ones. They're just clearing the lines. These ones have got to be more accurate. We're moving it slightly more into the sort of central area rather than spraying it too wide, which is good because that's where we got the personnel, but it just wasn't quite good enough today. And again, these ones I'm not bothered about on the out of play ones, but this group here, and they are spraying it wide, primarily to our overlapping fullbacks. And it hasn't been good enough, has it? They're not accurate enough. So we might have to shorten the passing again, possibly, just to see if we can eliminate some of that and make it more accurate. But I don't really want to do it because we don't have that central midfield covering. We've got to clear the gap somehow. So that slightly longer game has been what we've been using. But if it's not going to work, we have to change something about it, don't we? Let's look in at the crosses. And we got no assists from crosses. Completed crosses, there you have them. Intercepted ones, there were lots of them today. And out of play again from deep, not good enough. And so that's something that we can always improve on with our fullbacks, creating the width and getting those crosses in. Maybe it's time to change the style of cross. I'll have to check out what's working and what's not in that sense at some point. Let's go and have a look at the aerial challenges. So these are the headers that we won, and we win quite a lot. We're a decent enough heading side. You can see defensively we're doing well, and this is what you want these guys in the attacking setup to be doing, is using their head to bring in other players, because we're playing that slightly long ball kind of game. So that's not too bad. Let's see the ones that we lost. Again, it's spread through the pitch. And again, the number 25, Yanis, didn't have a great day, the youngster. He's done well. As I said before the game, 3 goals in 5 games. But today, you build him up and he doesn't quite deliver. And that's what happens. And you can see that he's missed chances. And he's also lost out on his headers as well, which is unfortunate. Key headers, there he is involved though. 4 of them in our opposition box. He was still doing something, and we're just not converting the chances that were laid down to us from those kind of headers. So maybe, there's some work to do in that 4-pronged attack, the 2 strikers and the 2 attacking midfielders, just to get them working properly. But defensively, I think we did okay. We just got that caught out on that one occasion from the corner kick. It gave them a lead. We couldn't quite convert our chances, and ultimately that's how we lost the game today, really. We're going to go into the team talk, and we're calmly going to say I'm not happy with the performance, tell them that we need to sort of up our game slightly, and then we're going to come out the match day squad, check that we're still in 6th place. It does cause us a bit of an issue if Ajaccio can go and get 3 points from there, a game in hand maybe. That jumps them onto 41, and we've got a big gap then to try and figure out. So we've got to find a way to start winning matches. Otherwise, we're going to lose ground on these guys ahead of us. Time to change that. So we'll see what we can do. What does that mean in terms of the next episode? As we look at Situ, who's got a few days out with an injury. Well, let's go into the schedule and figure out exactly what it is that we're going to be coming back for next episode. So here we are back on the schedule. You can see that run of form in the league is not good enough. 1 win in the last 4 games, really not good enough. Excuse me. So we've got to change that. And we'll be coming back to play Clermont in the next episode at the back end of February. There's a few games in between now and then, some of which are going to be tricky. Lens, who are running away with the title potentially, we've got to play them at home. That's going to be tricky. There's some winnable games in there though. We've got to find a way to get points in February. If I can come out of February through these 4 games and maybe get 6 points, I think that will be okay. So that's the intention. We'll see whether we can manage it. Come and join me next episode for Clermont, and we'll update you on exactly where that's been. See whether we can get some of the new defenders working in the side a little bit and putting the pressure on the first 11 to buck their ideas up a little bit and play better. So that's basically going to do it for today. Disappointing result, wasn't it, really? We should have done an awful lot better than we did. Very, very disappointing. especially at home. But that's the way it went. We've got to pick up points now to continue that pressure onto the playoff positions. I don't necessarily expect to go up this season. I think it'll be a season too soon. We have still got an awful lot of work to do to get this squad into a position where they're capable of really challenging for this league, let alone the one above us. So there's lots of work to do, but I'm up for the challenge. Join me next episode for the game against Clermont, and just to see how we did in the February fixtures, see if we can get those 6 points to push us up a little bit. Until then, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.